Holy future Supreme Court ruling, Batman. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the opening salvos of yet another mostly peaceful summer. They just can't stop. I swear I leave the country by itself for 5 minutes. I turn around only to find that you've lit the whole place on fire. As you know, we've been discussing over the weekend, Politico released a leaked document, and not just any document. It was an opinion draft from Justice Samuel Alito stating that at long last, after decades of existing, despite a complete lack of adherence to the Constitution, Roe versus Wade was finally being stricken down. Maybe. Now, it's worth noting initially that Politico released leaked documents, and the online response was crickets. Of course it was. I mean, you want to come out with leaked documents about Hunter Biden grabbing cash and spreading syphilis throughout the world. You're going to go to social media jail, you leaky MRFer. But hey-ho, Roe v. Wade's going to go, and all of a sudden, everyone's dancing the Woodward and Bernstein all over the American socio-political stage, right? Instead, we as a collective have been rutting and rooting through this pockmarked moral landscape for decades, okay? When we've reached the point that people will publicly state that abortion is a sacred right in this country, there are no holes into which we might fall that should surprise us in the least. So Roe is finally on the chopping block. And we know this because someone in the hallowed halls of the Supreme Court decided that it would be a grand idea to leak that out to the American public. The likeliest suspect in this debacle would be a left-leaning staffer, of course. There are arguments to be made that someone in the conservative camp did it, but they don't seem to hold much water at this time. I think it goes without saying between me and thee that whoever did it ought to find himself, herself, or theirself in a shitload of legal trouble because you just don't go releasing Supreme Court decisions in draft form. It undermines the fundamental purpose of having the Supreme Court in the first place. But hey, this story's far too big for me to digress into something so boring as undermined jurisprudence. Justice Roberts has launched an investigation into the matter, and we'll just have to sit on our hands and wait for the turd to float to the top of the punch bowl. Unsurprisingly, the left is celebrating the heroism of the leaker because they only dislike an illegal thing when it's being done to them and not on behalf of them. And braced against a hailstorm of cognitive dissonance, those observing the story with glee the next morning completely ignored the fact that barricades had to be immediately erected around the Supreme Court as soon as the news broke because the selfish mindset of the American dilettante class has proven to us time and time again that while there may be no I in team, there sure as hell is one in riot. So what's it all about, Alfie? Anyone with any brains and access to a computer or an old set of Encyclopedia Britannica knows that the abolition of Roe v. Wade simply means a return of the abortion decision to the state level. Abortions will still occur. It's just you might have to go to a state with a giant homeless population, massive tax rates, and people with buttholes for eyes as mayors in order to get them. Now, what could the leftists possibly be bitching about when overturning Roe won't really affect their states at all? It's about power, folks. Always has been. Always will be. The left doesn't care about women. They don't care about women's rights. You know that as well as I do. What they want is the end of the filibuster. What they want is the packing of the Supreme Court. What they really, really want is to not only wrest control away from anyone else who isn't them, but to enshrine an intellectual and by fiat legal precedent wherein they can be the ruling party of the ruling class forever. So let's take a little time today to celebrate the fact that we've even gotten this close to the end of Roe versus Wade. We're a long way from the exsanguinating, the moral and historical leech that has clung to our necks for decades and has destroyed so many millions of lives before they had a fair chance to begin. The road is long. It's fraught with painful decision, division between brothers, and hard choices we must make individually and collectively. But by God, we're getting there one step at a time. I love you guys.
If you enjoyed this video, hit like and subscribe to our channel so you'll be sure to see similar videos from BlazeTV with the added bonus of signaling YouTube that your voice and opinion still matters. And if you're looking for more great conservative content, check out one of the 2 videos suggested here.